There was a time when cars were built by people, for people. It was the golden age of automobile manufacturing. There were many different stars, only they shone quite differently for everyone, depending on their financial situation. And this applied not only to the natural habitat of foreign cars, but also to our homeland, where well-traveled imports poured in like from a cornucopia, confidently pushing Soviet cars into the background of people's desires. The third generation Audi 80, also known as the B2 or Type 81. Production of the car began in 1978. They kept stamping them out until 86. There were two body types, sedan and coupe. This is a two-door sedan from 1981 and it looks like new. I'll clarify right away, like new, because the car was partially restored by previous owners, of which there were many. In essence, it's a collective effort. Thanks to some for not ruining it and to others for restoring it. Today, the car looks interesting. Just imagine how Soviet citizens reacted to it in the 90s. Yes, the car was already over a decade old, but the image created by Italian designer Giorgetto Giugiaro was, so to speak, timeless. I take my hat off to the master. If only you knew how many he designed. Car exteriors. Though, honestly, his most successful works came in the last quarter of the previous century, right? That was a clever way for me to say it, so I wouldn't get confused with the years. But one thing is certain, the Audi 80 as a model first appeared in 1966. Initially, the model was built on its own platform, and later on a shared platform with the Volkswagen Passat, which he also had a hand in creating. The great schemer Giorgetto. Standardization across many components, a common recognizable style, but most importantly, from generation to generation, Audi cars carry the distinct imprint of this very style. Rectangular headlights and large chrome rings. Straight lines, sharp angles, and large windows ruled the world. Cars were supposed to look dynamic, but at the same time very airy. Audi succeeded in this, although only if you don't compare it to its competitors. Otherwise, the story about taste and color will start again. By the way, there were no sheds or avant-gardes in the 80s. Why? Because Sarai produced the Passat. Well, and so as not to create competition and all that. Now let's see what Tudor has in his trunk. Well, Tudor, 2 doors. Here are 2 doors. What an incredibly deep trough. The spare part is securely fastened on the left. It has a capacity of 495 liters. Agree, this is good. With 1,400 millimeters, height 670. Its big drawback, like many sedans of that time, was the non-reclining rear seat. If you compare it to our brands, say the Vaz 2108, the overall numbers are more practical. But you definitely won't find this level of neatness. Why doesn't the backrest fold down? Because the fuel tank is right behind it. As for the chassis, everything there is standard for its time. Take the rear, for example. Its base is an L-shaped profile with a tubular torsion bar inside. It also features the much disliked Panhard rod. This is a lateral bar, attached at one end to the body and at the other to the suspension. The rod's job is to provide lateral support for the axle beam. Why is it disliked? The design has one drawback. The axle beam sits in the center only when the car is moderately loaded. If you overload the car, it shifts slightly to the right. Well, this isn't unique to Audi. Up front, there's the classic mechanical setup bequeathed by McPherson. The lower control arms are attached to the subframe via bushings, and the subframe itself is mounted to the body at 4 points. The design also includes an anti-roll bar. As mentioned earlier, the engine is mounted on the subframe. In our case, it's the golden mean, with a 1.6-liter displacement. According to the official specifications, it has 85 horsepower. But I think the Soviet traffic police must have made a slight mistake by about 10. Because even, let's say, the number 80 in the name actually refers back to the original horsepower. And note that the engine is mounted longitudinally, not transversely. Originally, the Audi 80 was only equipped with inline 4-cylinder gasoline engines ranging from 1.3 to 1.8 liters, producing between 55 and 110 horsepower. In 1980, a newly introduced 1.6-liter diesel engine with 54 horsepower appeared. And a year later, a version with a 5-cylinder 1.9-liter gasoline engine producing a more powerful 115 horsepower. But the wide variety of engines does not stop at that point. I will provide you with more details about that another time, but for now, let's move to the back seat. Whoops. There's more than enough space in the back and the seats are so soft, they just envelop you. Each passenger has an armrest with an integrated pocket, but there's only one ashtray. But that's understandable. You can't really smoke in the back seat since the rear windows don't open. Man, this tractor is really getting on my nerves. But gentlemen, or rather comrades, there's a lot of snow in Russia this year. About the size, that's a big mystery to me. Why make it this way? There were two-door Audi ATS, and in terms of size, they're almost identical. Well, the door here is a bit wider, and so is the window. Other than that, the wheelbase, the width, everything else is the same. Well, probably because it looks nice. Yeah, there are just no words. This is probably the most basic one, the Audi I've ever gotten my hands on. Interestingly, if it weren't for one difference, which I'll mention in a bit, until 1981, this configuration didn't even have a letter designation. Now, after 1981, it started being called the CL, the base version. There's no point mentioning the CD and GTE and all that. They exist, but they're not relevant to us. And what we have here clearly shows that even something basic can be remarkably neat and tidy. Vinyl, and plenty of velour with fine wool. Everything is strict and classy with carpets on the floor. The music is playing softly in the background, and as you turn the steering wheel, just take a look at this absolutely divine cutting board that they have used for the glove compartment. A lot of elements here remind me of our domestic ones from the Sputnik. These seat rails, the glasses, and the buttons, strangely operated but neatly designed, raise some questions. You've seen the car's exterior paint color, and you've seen the interior color, green metallic with a matching green interior. Everything perfectly matches in color. And that means extra money was paid for this car, because there are only 4 basic colors and no metallics by default. And if you get a base model, the interior should be gray as well. But here, it's green, like my beloved grandfather's coat. And also, when I first got behind the wheel of a carbureted foreign car, I spent a long time looking for the choke. But there isn't one here. So, what did I like back in those days? Back then, when my eyes weren't yet jaded by advanced foreign technology and there wasn't much to compare with, it was that foreign cars, with very similar technical specs to our own cars, felt and handled quite differently. They rolled better, accelerated more smoothly, more assertively. No hysteria. The engine just pulls, the car just goes, and believe me, there's nothing supernatural or outstanding about it, compared to, say, the same Vosmerka, but somehow it's more humane. Your hands are where they should be, everything is within reach, right away, everything feels pleasant. Even your butt settles into the seat as if it's been lying there its whole life. You get it? You're not fighting with the car, and it's not fighting with you. You just get in and drive. You just need to focus on driving. If we talk about the numbers, the top speed is of course livelier than its domestic counterpart. With this engine and horsepower, the top speed is 163 kilometers per hour. Surprisingly, at high speeds, the car's behavior is very predictable. The only thing is, I haven't tried going over 120 because of the engine's scream. It has a 4-speed gearbox here. Let me remind you, the trim level, 0. And to be perfectly honest with you, I don't really like it at all. But again, compared to what? For some reason here, second gear isn't opposite first. Why is that? I don't know. There are no power assists here, you know? There is actually no power steering here, though it did exist back then. But why on earth would you even need it? Just take a look at exactly how incredibly responsive it is. But that doesn't mean it actually handles better because of it. The 80 is worse. The car accelerates to 100 in about 13 seconds. Thanks to the smooth ride, you can still feel the fierce German engineering hidden in this little car. You can certainly feel it, but you won't hear it at all. That's another specific thing that really used to annoy me about those foreign cars when I was young. It is actually relatively quiet now. Again, do they use a different kind of felt or fiberglass than we do? Is it somehow different from ours? Yes, you can hear everything, but it's all kind of muffled, unobtrusive. Moving on. And despite its relatively modest exterior dimensions, it is actually surprisingly spacious on the inside. The seats are well contoured either for me or for them, but the overall size, just like in the Moskvich 41, I am just comparing the physical size, nothing more, so you can really get comfortable in almost any position. If you want to sit a bit higher, you certainly can. If you want to sit lower, you can. If you want to recline, you can basically do whatever you want. The new generation of Audi, primarily the 80 and 100 models, pushed the world toward automotive evolution. The right choice of platforms gave the world a gift. The Quattro all-wheel drive, which became a benchmark. In total, 1,405,506 Audi 80s were produced. And that's not counting the coupes and other variations on the theme. We were incredibly lucky when used foreign cars poured in after the Iron Curtain finally fell. These were exceptional cars from the golden era, a time when quality was truly superb and prices were quite affordable. Well, at least relatively affordable for us back then. Here's a riddle. Who is happier? The one who managed, should you buy a used car, or are you the one who managed to sell an old car? Well, I saw it, drove it, and showed it to you. But I simply didn't buy it. And so, the hunt for the right one continues. Subtitles.